everybody!
Seth here, with the highly anticipated, kind of requested, Super Boss Jin showcase and release video. Although, actually, I guess more accurately, it would be more accurate to call him Power of Order Jin, as that is his new official name. That's kind of what, more or less, a lot of the suggestions were kind of pointing to. Some of the other ones sounded cool, but they were a bit wordy, so I just went with the whole, the Power of Order Jin. I think I hope that's alright with everyone. Anyways, yeah. So after some editing, some other stuff, finding time to record this shit, he's ready. And rather than hopefully accidentally dragging this intro out for 10 hours, let's go ahead and just get into things. Well, most importantly, the disclaimer. Probably not most importantly, you get the idea. So, another shout out to Baroque for his unlimited Jin mod that helped me recreate some of the shit used for Jin here, like kind of how Unlimited 2D here got done. I did take that among some other things. As per usual, everything else is basically done by myself. We got Under Heaven Destruction in the background because what's a more fitting song for a powerful Jin mod like this one? Gotta get the screen so I can actually read everything off with relative ease, because I am aware that when I click off this window, it freezes the recording for a second, so hopefully gonna try and limit that. Anyways, with that all the way, let's get right into it now. So, Jinny Boy here is special. He has that main character privilege, so most super bosses just have 8,000 more HP than their base amount, so Jin would have like, I believe 19,000. Jin's got main character privilege, so I gave him 20k among, like, unlimited, like, super boss Azrael and shit, because he's a character with significant story presence. So I figured he deserved that extra bit of hell tacked onto his health total, and 20,000 is basically the max I'm going to put on a super boss, because 20,000 health is ridiculous. And on top of that, you can see he's got that nice crispy blue aura. That's actually taken, that's basically his, that little particle effect there happens whenever he uses a 25 heat D special. I just have it playing on repeat there. Doesn't seem very effect intensive, so I think it probably shouldn't lag anyone online, I bet. Or at least that's not hoping, so I have considered making aura-less versions of super bosses so that they run easier on netplay for people, so I am considering that in case anyone was wondering. So for some of the more flashier ones that are coming in the future potentially, yeah, that'll probably be an option. Got the aura. Jin's taunt has been changed. It is now his Ice Angel wing pose there. Still uses the standard taunt lines though. Obviously looks really stylish. Not really much of a purpose outside of that. Okay, that handles basically cosmetic stuff for the most part, outside of like custom win poses. So next up, we're getting to stuff that we actually changed about the mechanics, aka the more interesting shit. So Power of Order Jin here actually does 25% more damage than regular Jin. We got a 375 damage jab compared to a 300, so that is more than apparent. In addition to that, I have upped his move speed by 50% across all parameters, I believe. His air dashes don't actually feel much faster. Maybe I might buff the air dash speed in between the video, because I feel like this isn't any faster. His run speed is definitely fucking faster. I mean, look at him just glide across the floor like that. Let's see. Obviously, he has the increased overdrive duration to max other super bosses. 13 seconds at full health, 22 at low health. I don't need to bother showing that anymore. In great detail, at least. The effects of his overdrive are all on by default, meaning a lot of his moves freeze. And I mean every sword move freezes, by the way, on this Jin, because if you will recall, Unlimited Jin in Chrono Phantasma did not have a 5C that freezes. Well, this Jin does. He has a 5C that freezes. You can see how that works out. No, that is not an infinite, do not worry, but yes, you can get stupid damage just off of doing that. Just based on how this, Jin mod works. In addition, Power of Order Jin, any attack of his that freezes will actually... I'm gonna pray this doesn't fuck up in my face right now, because if this actually doesn't work, I'm gonna be very embarrassed. Okay. Super Boss Jin's attacks that freeze don't actually give the opponent any heat on hit. Oh, perfect. Okay, it does work. That's good. Similar to Terumi's drive moves, they don't give any meter to the opponent. Because Jin is, get it? Because Jin, he's freezing their heat gauge. His ice moves are so cold they freeze the heat gauge. Moves that don't have a freezing effect on them are fully capable of raising the opponent's heat gauge on hit. But yeah, basically, Jin denies a lot of meter use with a lot of his moves because, as you can see, 5B gives meter, 5C does not. Pretty nasty, and Jin's got plenty of nasty stuff up his sleeve, more than just that, so... hold on to your hats. Like, for example... I would like to call Power of Order Jin, or here's the hierarchy. So we have Jin, and then we have Unlimited Jin, and then we have Boss Mitsuru from Persona 4 Arena. And Boss Mitsuru is like Unlimited Jin, but unfair. And I would like to call Power of Order Jin Boss Mitsuru, but unfair. And for that example, because we have inherited several of Boss Mitsuru's dumbest traits onto Jin here. One of them being, if I can actually pull this off properly. Okay. Shit. Jin's Counter Assault will freeze the opponent, like Mitsuru's. Boss Mitsuru's. Sorry, folks, I don't exactly use Counter Assaults that often. I mean, most people, I imagine, don't. Especially no one that watches these videos probably don't use any Counter Assaults. But yes, Counter Assault off of Jin will freeze the opponent and allow for a combo. The scaling is actually pretty fucking good, too. Not just that, but, if Jin techs a throw, the opponent will be frozen. I can't deny, I think actually... Shit. Let me, can I just set them to auto-tech the throw? Yeah. Okay, so it's not if the opponent techs the throw. Okay, that's good. I don't want that. If the opponent techs your throw, they shouldn't get fucking throws. And if you tech your opponent's throw, though, Jin will also freeze the opponent. I will admit the method that I had to do to get that to work is pretty fucking ghetto. So expect some wacky shit that might happen off of it. Potentially. You never know. Just a disclaimer there. And as if that wasn't enough, this isn't a thing from Boss Mitsuru, this is just me being evil. Shit. Hold on. No. There we go. Jin's Burst will fucking freeze you as well if it hits you, although the scaling is extremely heavy on the burst. But you can do some incredibly stupid shit off of bursting your opponent and freezing them in an ice cube for free. Especially when Distortion drives have minimum damage. So, yeah, obviously you can see that Jin went overboard with his, Yuki Anasa here. That's just part of the gig, though. In addition to, all of this, and fuck, I forgot. I had Noelle here as the training dummy to be kind of thematic, but I think it would actually be, yeah, I think for the sake of demonstration, we're actually gonna, hold on, yeah. We're gonna swap to Kokonoe real quick. Okay, we dragged Kokonoe out of Sector 7 because, I mean, I could have done like a Jin mirror match thing, but I feel like that looks weird, so we'll just grab Kokonoe here. So another feature of Jin, in addition to him being just a freeze-you addict, is, and I was admittedly pointed out this isn't entirely true, unfortunately, but we'll have to We'll have to go with what we can. So, Kokinoe's absolute 0 is what we need here, and we need her to not have meter, because otherwise that's going to make her do this shit afterwards. So, watch this. Jin himself... she still has meter, that's why. Jin himself isn't getting frozen. Shit. Probably shouldn't. Oh, wow, do not block absolute 0, damn. As you can see, Jin is not getting frozen by Kokinoe's absolute 0 special, which freezes. That is because Jin himself here has been made almost immune to being frozen himself. I say almost because Projectiles, unfortunately, like another Jin's Ice Blade here, or Nine's Ice or Water Magics that freeze you. Jin 2Ds, as pointed out by John Brown. I didn't notice in the Mars run, the enemy Unlimited Jin froze me with a 2D. So, Projectiles for obviously I couldn't do anything about Projectiles freezing, and yes, Kokinoe's absolute 0 is in fact not treated as a projectile attack, more or less, and that's why it works here. So basically the only real utility not being frozen has is against other Jins, for the most part. It's basically a novelty because it doesn't block the projectile freezes, but it's still cool, so I left it in anyways. So, sorry for the little disclaimer that he can still be frozen by a number of things still, but for the most part, he's immune to being frozen. Now then, yeah, we're gonna swap back to Noelle now. Alright, so now that most of the under-the-hood stuff is taken care of, we can get on to what I actually changed about more of his, or actually, no, there's still some of that shit left. Regardless, we're gonna go with this here. For starters, I also changed Jin's Crush Trigger. It has been heavily reworked. I want you all to watch this, because I only used it once in the Mars video. I really wish I used it more, because I imagine a lot of you are going to like this. Check this shit out. Oh. Ain't that spiffy. And if Noelle jumps, it'll tag her out of the sky. Fascinating, isn't it, folks? So, basically, Power of Order Jin is apparently Virgil from the Devil May Cry series, because his Crush Trigger quick draw slash thing will now magically cut the opponent from anywhere on the screen. This does not mean that the slash itself has no hitbox. In fact, you can have both hit for that to happen. The actual sword itself has a freezing effect on hit. So you can do that to start combos. Crush Trigger will still break guards on physical hit. The Projectile will not, as you can see, or the Warp Cut of sorts. The Sword hit, however, will, although it'll still eat the Projectile spawned by the Quick Draw Slash. In addition to that, if you have more meter than 25, you can actually cancel Crush Triggers rapidly, up to 4 times, obviously, for 100 heat. For cool shit such as that. Obviously gets decent damage. For stuff like that. More of like a full screen punish utility, really, more than anything, but obviously great for style points, too, because you know how I am about that sort of shit. Is that it? Oh, the slash itself will guard break for 50% longer than normal as well. That's it for Crush Trigger. Just had to make sure I get that well-sold tidbit in there. Okay, now for probably one of the more important under-the-hood mechanics again. I imagine most, if not all of you, have noticed that Jin now has a little tiny meter down there, up above his heat gauge. And you'll notice that when I hit 5D, it'll go up a bit. If I hit 6D, it'll go up a bit. If I hit 2D, it'll go up a bit. If I hit fucking Airborne Ice Blade, it'll go up a bit. That is Power of Order Jin's Permafrost meter, as I have dubbed it. Permafrost is a special little mechanic that I gave Jin here. Basically, if you hit a move that freezes... I'll actually go down the list here so I don't miss anything, because there is actually a lot of shit that fills up Permafrost. Jin will gain 50 Permafrost upon hitting a Drive Normal. So, any of these moves. If he gets a throw, he'll get some. If you fucking burst, even. Shit. Whoops. Damn it, I'm awful at this. If you burst. Oh, wow. Wait, really? Apparently, if you burst, it fills his permafrost gauge. That's fucking stupid. Why did I have it do that? That's dumb. Oh, whatever. I'll keep it. Fuck it. I should probably, yeah, note that the burst fills it to max. If you hit a drive normal, Jin's throw, his burst, or a non-D special that freezes, Jin will gain 50 permafrost. And if you accumulate 250 permafrost, or about a quarter of the gauge, obviously, because you can actually have 1,000, you can spend 250 of it to use a D special instead of spending 25 meter. I imagine at least some of you that probably use Jin are wondering why I did that, possibly. You're like, oh, why'd you move his shit around? Now if I have meter, I can't use my specials. I need this stupid resource. Well, obviously, if you look at my bar down there, permafrost is super fucking easy to build. So it actually gives Jin more access to his D specials. And also, now that you don't have to spend meter for your D specials in your combos, you can do shit like, you can do D specials into distortions more easily. Or use your heat for rapid cancels, all that other good stuff that you would need to use your meter for. You no longer have to spend on Jin D specials because you have this easy-ass permafrost mechanic that you literally get for just hitting your opponent with all of your main tools. Is that it for permafrost? Yeah, that should be it for permafrost. Yeah, that's it for permafrost. Okay, now we're into the nitty-gritty, the normal changes. How far in we in this? How far in we in this? How far in this are we? Probably about, I have to make like 15 minutes or so, 15, 20. So I guess we're doing good time, because there's, oh shit, there's so much to go over. At least you're all probably used to this by now, that these Super Boss showcases are hella long because of all the crap I have to go over. I change a lot of shit with these characters. So, for starters, and also extremely notable, we have his 6A. 6A can combo without need for a counter hit anymore. I up the hit stun on it. In addition to that, the bonus proration you get from hitting it first in a combo has been raised from 10% to 20%, so much more benefit to your combo scaling if you land 6D in a combo or as a starter, I believe. I know for a fact that upscales your combo damage, not sure about the other thing. In addition to that, it's also dash cancelable, just like Jin's older brother's, Ragna's 6A is dash cancelable, so that's an option as well if it's blocked, perhaps. For whatever reason, not really sure. I'm actually not sure in what circumstance you would want to dash cancel 6A. I think it's actually pretty negative on block. It'll probably help you there. Next up, we have 5B, which is jump cancelable on block again, like it was in some previous title. I didn't actually specify which one it was here, but regardless, 5B is jump cancelable again. 6B, now ground bounces on hit, like that. Apparently that is a change. Apparently that's not normal. I hope so. Otherwise I'm reiterating something that already exists in the game. And in addition to ground bouncing, it's an overhead. You can actually do cool shit like that off of it as well. But we'll go into that more later. And Jin also has a new, or should I say old normal, re-available to him in the form of 3B. This is his old sweep kick that he had, I think, was it prior to... Did he get this in Chrono? I think he got this in Chrono. No, because I recall him having this in I recall him having the sweep kick in Chrono. I think he got this in Central Fiction. But anyways, the old sweep kick has been brought back as 3B, and obviously being a B normal, it has cancel options into C moves. It still works like it used to as well. So it's still a sweep. It's just a sweep you can now cancel into C moves, and special cancel like normal. I also added head and body invulnerability during the startup until Jin recovers, so I think theoretically that should allow me to slip under Noelle's 5C here as a demonstration. Yup. So, easy to explain there. 2C. 2C now fatal counters like it used to in CS. As you can see, I kind of, along with the CS2 Noelle logic for Super Boss Noelle, I kind of brought Jin more or less back to his CS glory days for the most part. In a way. Probably some shit I missed from there, but, you know, documentation on CS2 and shit like that is pretty hard to fucking find, unfortunately, so I don't have many resources to go off of there. Moving on, we have 6C, which can now be jump canceled on hit or on block, which opens up a lot of new possibilities. And in addition, Jin has body and projectile invulnerability as he's turning around to swing his sword before he attacks. So it's once the move becomes active, he loses it. But you can use it to do stupid shit like that and dodge moves. Because Jin kind of turns around and sidesteps them more or less when he does it, so I figured that'd be kind of fitting to have. New 3C has hard knockdown. That's more or less a standard limited change, apparently. It also freezes, so the knockdown attribute is kind of irrelevant unless you hit someone past the freeze limit. But it's there. Oh, right. I should probably note. This is at the top of the change list, too. I felt the need not to note this, but I probably should have. Kind of similar to Super Boss Noelle, I actually changed Jin's freezing rules around. Every attack that freezes outside of Overdrive, so 5C, all the drive moves, etc. like that, each move can freeze... You can freeze your opponent 10 times in a combo. Shit, so actually, probably the easiest way to demonstrate this is to do D-chains repeatedly until we hit 10 hits, in which case... After the 10th hit, the 5C obviously unfroze Noelle, and the freeze durations all last for 45 frames. That is a global trait across all of his moves, I believe. There's no notes here that I left while making him that indicate otherwise, so that is your global data for all of that. And speaking of, we get to move on to the D moves now. Like 5D. This fatal counters like it did in Chrono Phantasma. That is literally it. Obviously, 2D and 6D are the unlimited versions from previous games, so 2D does 3 swords, 6D does 3 wings. I believe, I'm not sure if this... I'm pretty sure these are changes I did myself that aren't in standard unlimiteds. But both of these are now dash cancelable. Shit, I need to do... Yeah, there we go. So both of those are now dash cancelable. In addition, normally Unlimited Jin 2D is slower because he has a sword in the ground longer. You can see that this Jin is a lot faster because I actually used the standard 2D animation. So, compared to Unlimited Jin, Power of Order Jin has his normal speed 2D that still spawns all 3 of the Ice Blades. So, huge advantage there. This is no longer just free. If you block it, you get a punish fodder. Or for Tager's case, this is no longer block 2D, wait for 2D and then command grab you. Because that is no longer an option. Especially since I'm pretty sure you can actually jump cancel this fucking thing too. Yeah. Next up, there's aerials. We have JB. Nothing really special. You can, yeah, it doesn't really help as a jump in either. Wow, that kind of sucks. You can cancel JB into JD on hit or block, which obviously JD startup is too fucking slow for that to matter on the ground, apparently, but hey, if you want to do random air strings like that, that's an option now. JD, similar to Unlimited Jin, doesn't stop his overhead now. He doesn't just stop in the air. He continues to fall down, so it's good for cross-ups, potentially, if you want to freeze your opponent. If you don't want to try and land cross-up J2C. In addition to that, JD is now also an overhead. No, not jumping, crouching. Wait, what? Huh? Oh, come on, Seth. I thought we were going to have fuck-ups this time. It said it's an overhead. Oh, well. We'll fix that. We'll fix that eventually. Okay. JD will probably be an overhead. Assuming that the game lets me do that, because I'm fairly certain I have it set up to be an overhead. So I'm kind of surprised that didn't work, but we'll take care of that later. That's it for normal changes. Next we go into all the wondrous things I did to all of his specials. I think we're doing good on time despite how content-heavy this Jin is. I'm proud of myself. This is going to be a great showcase to top off the rest of the year. Let's see here. Alright, yep. Next up, we're starting with his 623B. Blizzard, I think it's called. Did I actually get the English name here? No? Yeah, Fabuki Blizzard. So, Blizzard here got its old invulnerability from CS back, from CSE. It was invulnerable from frame 4 onward fully. So it's kind of like a ghetto DP. It's not a frame 1 reversal, so it's not super reliable, but it is basically his best anti-air now because it's super fucking fast still. So that'll intercept a lot of shit. It's not a frame 1 reversal, I repeat, not a frame 1 reversal, but it is invulnerable for a large portion of the move after startup now. His actual DP, 623C Gale... this is really stupid, actually, too. The proration 1 and 2 values on Gale are both 100. This means, obviously, since I just got a 5k combo off of 8 hits, that the scaling off of this move as a starter, especially, and when used in combos, is extremely good. So getting hit by Jin's DP raw now is a mistake and a half, and you should probably make sure it never happens if you're fighting him. Oh, fuck, I don't really have a reliable way to show off D specials because his permafrost is always empty, and there's no way to actually toggle it in the settings here. So, let me build up a full permafrost meter real quick so I can show you the D version of his DP series. There we go. 623D! Best way to demonstrate this would be there we go. 623D. The first hit is always treated as fully charged, meaning it is always unblockable and will fatal counter. Do with that what you will. Do with that what you will. Oh, wow, that was whack. An accidental TK 236C. Oh, yeah, I can do dumb shit with that, too. Sekijin! The move I wish I used more of also in the Unlimited Mars showcase. And I also did a lot to it. Sekijin, 22C, or Snowflower Storm. That does 8 hits now, and as you can see, every fucking hit fills permafrost. So this is... oh, yeah, just use this to fill up your fucking gauge, Seth. So every hit does twice as many hits, and each hit will fill up the permafrost. The last hit will also leave the opponent frozen. The pushback on this has been halved, so it leaves them closer to Jin for follow-ups. And on top of that... shit, I scrolled down by accident. On top of all of that, even, the whiff animation that you normally get when you use this move from too far from the opponent doesn't trigger anymore. Or rather, you can see it slightly does, but instantly Jin goes back to a normal, neutral standing state where he can block and shit. So, don't have to worry about actually getting this move out of range. If you're like mid-screen here, it probably wouldn't trigger. See, it's not triggering. So it'll only fully go into the move when it's sure it's gonna hit. And you don't have to worry about whiffing, being stuck in that shitty animation if you do miss. On the other side of the spectrum, Sekijin D version hits 12 times, and every hit freezes. And the D follow-up is also different for that version. The meter for this, or rather your permafrost gauge, if you use this out of range, is only consumed if the opponent is in range for the attack to successfully trigger. See, just to make sure here. Yeah, okay. So, important thing to note about both Sekijin follow-ups is that the D follow-ups have 75% minimum damage. There's the C version. The D version is a different follow-up. The D version, which you actually need 250 permafrost for the actual Sekijin, and then 250 more for the follow-up for balance purposes. The D follow-up to this is a neat little combination attack of all the follow-ups from Unlimited Jin and CP's 22A and 22B and 22D variants, essentially. You're probably wondering, why does he not have the 22A and 22B variants from CP? Well, I found those a little redundant, especially when I could just stack all the unique follow-ups onto the D follow-up there for extra style points. And I basically just added all of the additional hits between the versions, so it's more or less composited into the other two versions. And I kind of did the same for, No, oh, Permafrost, ironically named, for his J214C and 214Ds. I basically composited the A and B versions of Unlimited Jin there, too. For the same reasons, more or less. Speaking of them, they're the next up on the list here. So, 214C here actually does 2 hits. It's a little hard to get the first one to hit while on a grounded opponent, because obviously it's a horizontal slash upward, but in the air you can see that the first slash will freeze, the second will unfreeze. And it floats upward. The second will spike them to the ground for a ground bounce. If the second slash, it will stagger like normal if it hits a grounded opponent. And the second slash, additionally, is also an overhead. And the D version, if we use Snowflower Storm to fill up the permafrost for us, it's basically exactly the same, except the second hit will freeze also. Makes it easier to follow up than trying to run up and convert off that ground bounce there. You also get a lot more options off of it, I believe, in general. So that's it for his aerial specials. Oh boy, now for the fun part. The bestest Jin special ever that everybody has loved since Calamity Trigger. Ice Cars! They are back and better than ever with a vengeance, my friends. This is the ultimate Ice Cars. So, basically, I took the freezing that they have in Unlimited CP and the multi-hit property that they have in Unlimited CS and combined them together and cranked them up to 11. So Jin has all of his variants from CS. He has an A version, a B version, his normal C version, and the D version, of course. And they all do different shit. I will note that all of the Ice Cars are frame 1 throw invincible, because, I mean, he jumps up above the ground to get on the board there, so it kind of makes sense. So, oh god, I hope I redid this right, because I was copying some of this from CP, and it was a little sketchy, and it didn't look right, so I messed around with it more. We'll just go with however it is right now. So, 214A, A Ice Car, is a low, and it hits 3 times. Only under the right spacing, though, because it's a piece of shit. This is actually body invincible once Jin starts moving, so... Oh, shit. Oh, I didn't start moving yet, that's why. That's gonna be a little hard to time. No. There we go. there's that clean counter hit. So, that's body invincible once Jin starts moving. Every hit can freeze, and this is also to compensate for the fact there's no A version or B version of Permafrost there. I have given him, or re-given him, his ability to use the Ice Car in the air, along with the B version. So you can do A and B Ice Cars in the air. C obviously gives you Permafrost there. So, go nuts with that, for whatever you may want to use it for. B version is an overhead. That also does 3 hits. Yes, he has a low Ice Car and an overhead Ice Car. He had that in CP as well, his limited at least. It was really stupid. This can go into the overhead slash like normal. All hits can freeze, obviously. This is foot invincible from frame 1, as well as being prone invincible. So this will beat out lows on your get up. If this is used in the air, it is not an overhead, just a quick note. I mean, that should be obvious for the most part, but you never know. Important to clarify stuff like that. C version is a low like it usually is, and this one hits 4 times. Can obviously go into the overhead slash, or obviously it only hits 4 times if you like point blank on them, apparently, because that's how long the hit lasts. All hits can freeze. This! I have given every Jin main probably one of the things they've wanted most. C Ice Car is Projectile invincible once he starts moving. Shit. Let's see if this works. So, no longer is zoning going to be a problem for you Jin players, because now you can just Ice Car from full screen and hit the zoner. And freeze them for a full combo on top of that. D version of Ice Car is also a low and also does 5 hits. The follow-up slash will freeze. And this is foot and throw invincible from frame 1. But, however, so this is foot and throw invincible from frame 1, but it is fully invincible once Jin starts moving. So this will beat out, so D Ice Car will beat out anything once it starts going into motion. If you're asking if I've gone insane by giving Jin's most meme-worthy move this much power, you're probably right. But I just had to do it, because I'm one of those fucking scumbag Ice Car abusers who just loves it for the sake of the meme. So of course I have to buff it into meme-worthy status for the super boss. In addition, all of the Ice Cars that can do follow-up slashes can actually do so on any hit of the Ice Car. So you can do it even before the Ice Car hits. You can do this. You can fake going into a C Ice Car and then immediately do the overhead slash for an overhead. So low, fake low into overhead, or get hit by the low. Basically, your 50-50 potential is through the fucking roof just with these 4 moves alone. And in addition... Yeah, in addition, all the follow-up slashes for every version are cancelable into distortions on hit or block. That is before anyone gets any more anxious, don't worry, that's all for Ice Cars. That is all the Ice Car buffs. I didn't make them any more broken. You're fine. Next up, we move on to Jin's Projectile series, which he does actually have all 4 of these. Let's see here. Yeah, his old Ice Projectile series. So, they're all basically the same as they were before. I copied basically a lot of this from Baroque's Jin to save times. The C version, like in CP, will spawn 2 Ice Swords. I did refine that a bit. Baroque's Jin is a little weird with this move and how it works in a way. I tweaked the speed of the swords to more closely resemble how they worked in CP. Because I think he can move... Baroque's Jin can move basically the moment the first projectile even spawns in. I wasn't down with that, so I made it closer to the source material. Is that it? Yes. And then we have his aerial C version, which Jin's air momentum is not frozen when he does that, unlike the A version which pops him up. So you can do some nice stuff with this as well. That's also from CP, though. Nothing else really noteworthy about that, except for the fact that he has, the D Ice Sword that he had in CS and CP. He got Snowflakes in this game, but here we have the giant multi-hitting Ice Sword and the super obnoxious unlimited version of the aerial. Shit, that's a snowflake. The super obnoxious triple aerial sword from his CS Unlimited. Or CP Unlimited. I think CP did the 3 swords. These old D projectiles are usable with back forward and then X or D. So back forward, and then in the air, you'll get that version. You can still charge the grounded version to deal more hits and move a bit slower. Or not more hits, but the hit stop is longer, so you have more time to run up and convert off of it. Yeah, that's about it for that. Hey, we finally reached the bottom of the special change list. Oh wait, no, not yet, not quite yet. The last thing is a completely new special that I have given Jin, another nod to the obnoxious, imperious Queen of Executions boss, Shitsuru. We have Tentarafu. And it is a carbon copy, basically, of Boss Mitsuru's Tentarafu, in that this fucking obnoxious move that hits the entire ground floor like his Astral is unblockable. And will cause a second hit that launches the opponent upwards that you can't really... I think you can Distortion cancel this? Not really, no. Unfortunate. Just to make sure you can't... Yeah, can't really do much off it. It's more for one of those cheesy reset options. If the opponent jumps it... Oh, shit. What the fuck? Okay, please tell me... Let's try that. Okay, good. If you whiff the initial hit, you can see that Jin still does the follow-up attack animation, though. So if you whiff Tenterafu, your opponent's gonna have plenty of time to run up on you and kick your ass. Just a heads up. Although apparently since this thing seems keen on fucking catching people out of random-ass jump startup, like that, kind of like fucking Hazuma's Eternal Coils the Broken bullshit, that might not be too much of a problem. No! We're done with special changes. Okay. Ugh, talking for so long always wears me out. Gotta admit. It's fine. We're on the last, basically, half of... Oh, shit. Okay, never mind. We might still have quite a bit of shit to go over, folks. But we get to move on to Jin's Distortion changes, starting with Ice Fangs, or Waves. Obviously similar to Unlimited, since... I'm not sure if that was a... I'm not sure if Unlimited Jin had that since Calamity Trigger. I know for a fact it's been since CS that Unlimited Jin would fire 2 Ice Waves. Obviously kept that. And we'll end with the Overdrive finisher on successful hit, like in CP. This is now invulnerable until after? Yeah, after the first wave is fired. So I think technically that should make this a meterless reversal. Let's try with Noelle 5C. Shit. Oh, that actually spat the wave out. As you can see, I counter-hit Noelle out of that with proper timing. So, technically a frame 1 reversal, but not very good because the wave... Oh, yeah, there's a dead zone right in front of it until the second one. So, yeah, probably don't use that as a meterless or as a metered reversal unless your opponent's a decent way away from you. Great counter to zoning, though, just because of that. It's even better at doing that since it has invulnerability until the wave is first fired now. Let's see, is that... Yeah. Also, the minimum damage on the Ice Waves has been increased to 30% from whatever the fuck it was prior. I don't have it noted down here, unfortunately. Moonsong, or Arrows. You're gonna love this. Fires 4 of them. And still does the Winter's Repose slash that Unlimited Jin likes to do afterwards. So, the firing 4 arrows is actually from Unlimited Jin's CP Distortion, where he just fires 4 arrows and they leave you frozen. Well, I said, fuck having this be a separate Distortion, just make normal Moonsong fire the 4 arrows and then tack on the normal fucking Moonsong finisher on top of that. For just a shit ton of damage there. And added anti-air coverage because... Also still usable in the air as well. Probably to much lesser effect at getting multi-hits, but it's there. Unless you do something like that. So yeah, that'll fire 4 arrows, and he still finishes with the finisher that he usually does in Unlimited. Winter's Riposte. I buffed the hell out of Winter's Riposte here. Winter's Riposte got a damage increase. Obviously has the auto startup if it's not triggered, and when he's... I learned this the hard way. When he's doing this, you can still grab him out of it before he slashes, but everything else will go right through him, and you will get smacked by the preceding follow-up. Unblockable once active, yada yada yada. Causes a freeze and knockdown hunt. You can actually relaunch with this, supposedly, with 2B on some occasions. Probably you need to get a counter hit for that. But apparently I have done it before if it's noted down here. Every slash now has 50% minimum damage, so half minimum damage, except for the final hit, which is 20%. But that still totals out to a considerable amount of damage raw. Is that it? Oh, in addition, and you've probably seen this if you watched the Mars video, because I don't think the AI did this at all when I played the best of 5. If you cancel into Winter's Riposte from another Distortion or from a D special, I think this would probably be the best option here. Yeah, Ice Car would be the best option here. Winter's Riposte will skip the parry phase and immediately go into a quicker version of the follow-up, so you can use this in combos now. Oh my god. Seth, you're styling. Seth, you're styling! So, yeah, for the extra style factor and utility, you can now combo for real. You can, like, really combo to Winter's Riposte. And next up we have new distortions, which we have 2 of them. We have 236-236C. This is literally a copy of Boss Mitsuru's Bufudyne. The giant glacier you see there is completely air unblockable. I think, yeah, I will go through barrier even. Let me have Noelle jump and barrier block here. Yeah, goes through air barrier, freezes for a long time. Can't really do anything off of it unless... What if you have a counter hit? If you counter hit the airborne opponent, will you get something... Yeah, not really. The main utility off of Bufudyne outside of the corner probably is that if you can cancel into Winter's Riposte, although you need better timing than that to actually make it fucking connect. There we go, Seth. So that is an option for a 100-meter dump off of Bufudyne. Anything else notable about it? Nope, other than the fact you can go into Winter's Riposte off of it, there isn't much other than it's Boss Mitsuru Bufudyne, which is regular Mitsuru, just, yeah. So, Mitsuru Bufudyne, completely air unblockable, covers a huge amount of aerial space, yada yada yada. The other new distortion is this little thing right here. Doesn't really have a name, I just call it Snowflake Rain because it causes you to rain these spinning snowflakes, about 20 or so of them, since maybe half of those hit. This will, well, as described on the tin, this will cause Jin to rain snowflakes from the sky, that grant you a shit ton of stage control. So, great to use after a freeze or a knockdown of sorts. Stay off of C air slash there. Even if you hit Jin, once the move is complete, the snowflakes will still come out, so this can actually interrupt your opponent's combos. The positioning on the snowflakes admittedly can be weird, and if Jin is cornered, you get this. Unfortunately, where they spawn all the way over there. However, if you go into the same corner and you push your opponent in there, and then you do it, they will spawn correctly behind Jin and basically directly on the opponent for you to run mix-up on the opponent. The snowflakes do shit for damage pretty much, and they scale the combo kind of heavily. This is mainly used as a stage control tool to maintain your offense. I will note this also has no invincibility whatsoever on that whole animation. But obviously, it does have a lot of decent uses in terms of running your offense. Okay. Holy shit, how long is this? A long time. I need to stop asking how long it is. The answer is always the same. Next up, we have Exceed Excel. As per usual, Exceed Excel is sped up and uses as if you held the button at all given times. And it will automatically go into the Active Flow version, which now has 40% minimum damage from the usual 10%. In addition to that, if you land Exceed Excel, it will leave the opponent frozen and fill Jin's permafrost gauge to maximum, which you obviously cannot combo off the Exceed Excel, as noted by the fact that I will whiff 5C off of it, but you can toss out a snowflake with your newly filled permafrost gauge to resume pressure afterwards. So you got a 6k Exceed Excel that freezes and fills your secondary resource instantly upon hit. And, oh my god, Seth. Say it with me. I forgot to go over the snowflakes. I'm sorry. I missed them. I somehow just ignored them completely on the change list. I guess I was going over everything else. I apologize. So before we go over to the Astral and all the Overdrive shit, let's recap to the snowflakes. I need Permafrost Meter for this. Snowflower Storm will benefit me quite well there. Snowflakes, both of them. As you can see, they now track the opponent. And I mean actually track the opponent wherever they go. They last a hell of a lot longer, too. They still fade away after 3 hits, though. In addition to that, the Snowflakes now have a projectile level of 3, which is more than a lot of average... Yeah, it just clanged. That clashed with Noelle's 5C, which is a projectile. So it'll beat out a lot of... most, if not pretty much all, normal projectiles that don't come from, like, a Distortion drive or something. So this is also another good zoning... anti-zoner tool along with the swords, if you want to create a wall for yourself and run behind the Snowflake or cover your opponent's wake up. The Snowflake's now a lot better at doing that because they actively track the opponent. Oh, lastly, before we go into his insanely, and I mean insanely busted Overdrive, I have changed Jin's Astral. It is now much faster. You can still jump it on reaction, but it is much faster. You'll be able to combo off of it a lot more shit, especially given how much shit Jin has that freezes now. But you can still jump it on reaction, so using it raw is risky, but definitely viable. The whiff recovery has been reduced by a huge amount too, so he's not as easy to punish if he does fuck it up. And it's been made unblockable, like all of the pre-Chrono Phantasma titles have had it, so... yeah... you can do dumb shit like this, actually. Stuck in block stun. Inescapable. Or, you know, chuck a Snowflake using your permafrost gauge, and then do Arctic Dungeon. And, they can't do anything. Kelly just killed her outright doing that. So we'll have her block after that. Inescapable. Or even as demonstrated, because I found this out in the Unlimited Mars run, you can do... burst into Astral! No other... I can safely assure you, probably, that no other fucking mod is probably gonna be able to burst into Astral. That has to be some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen, but he can do it. So have fun with that. Have fun robbing your opponent of a well-deserved win with that at some point. All of that aside, before we get into the Overdrive changes, he has 2 new custom win animations for when he wins the match. One of them, he'll walk up and stab the downed opponent with Yuki Yanasaw, similar to the Kenteru animation there, or what he does for the follow-up on his Ice Waves. Another one, he will do his normal taunt animation, and then ride away on his extremely stylish Ice Car! Which is extremely hilarious for reasons I don't need to go into. Because it's obvious. It's Jin taunting and then riding away on Ice Car after he kicks your ass. What's not to like about it? Okay. Holy shit. We're finally onto the Overdrive changes, and fucking hell, the Overdrive changes are longer than most characters too, even, so this is still gonna be a little while. I'm sorry. At least I know you'll all probably love this Jin mod, but I'm sorry this is so long. So for starters, when Jin goes into Overdrive, this is a nice little cosmetic change. He'll emit a nice little burst of ice there, and his little ice mist that he does off of his Astral is now present on the stage for the rest of the round. There can be some awkward quirks with this particle effect, admittedly, that are beyond my control, like, a nice example of how to prove it there is to Overdrive in the corner here. If we take and mosey on over here, Noelle, please follow us. You can obviously, it cuts off right here at a certain point. That's basically all about that, though. I think I fixed... let me see. Fuck, okay, I didn't fix it spawning in the air either. It spawns directly at where Jin's feet are positioned, so if you overdrive in the air, you'll get this weird thing here. Obviously, I tried to fix that. It's beyond my control. It seems that the snow particles there are not something I can edit in what I'm able to. But yeah, basically just a neat little cosmetic change for when he goes into Overdrive. Doesn't really do anything. Will probably lag you the fuck out on net play, which, like I said, is just another advocate for aura or effectless super bosses to be made at some point. Which I will definitely make one of Jin if it is requested, so. Another note there. Another neat change of Overdrive is that Jin's permafrost gauge will build over time, allowing you copious usage of Jin's D specials. Oh my god. Yeah, you can see how that gets busted very fast. And it doesn't stop there! In Overdrive, Jin's freeze limit that I noted, going up to 10 times, is completely fucking removed! Null and void! Irrelevant! You can freeze the opponent for as long as your fucking Overdrive lasts. Even going beyond the rules of hit stun for the fucking game. And I took this off of his Abyss upgrade from fucking CS that does the same thing. It removes the freeze limit. So, I hope you like Infinites, because that's what you're going to be eating. A 22-second long Infinite if Jin pops Overdrive at low health and hits you. Because this can go until you drop the fucking combo, like I just did. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? On top of that, Jin gets his other Abyss ability from Central Fiction here in the boss dungeon, Flower in the Snow, which means every attack can freeze, which includes, more akin to Boss Mitsuru, his A buttons, his B buttons, everything. Everything freezes now. Although the attacks off of, the freeze durations off of A and B normals are obviously lower than if you had slashed them with Yuki Anaso with a C or a D attack. And another thing to note about Flower in the Snow is that this will cause Jin's heat and his barrier gauge to regenerate. So I think Jin can't be in danger state. I think Jin has to have, let me see. If you're not in danger state, see, the barrier starts to regenerate a little faster. Did I implement that, or did I forget? I think I forgot to do that. I might mess with that before I upload this. But, yeah, your heat gauge will regenerate. People more familiar with CF boss mode will note that Flower in the Snow will usually let Jin just astral whenever he wants above 50 meter. Yeah, too bad, buckos. That's too OP even for me. So, no random astrals once you have above half meter. You still need 100. You still need to get them to low health. I'm sorry. I have to draw the line at some point. I feel like I've given all of you Jin players enough just with the regenerating permafrost, removed freeze limits, and the regenerating heat gauge you get off that shit, so. And we're not even done with this Overdrive yet. I've changed a bunch of other shit, too. Such as... That is still 5D good. 5D is armored against body projectile, body moves. So you can truck through a bunch of shit just with mashing 5D. Just set this to permanent. Okay. 2D and 6D. Do I even need to explain what's wrong with this image? Or this image? These will both unleash a wave of 5 projectiles instead of 3 now. Wait, did the freeze thing just fuck up? Oh, I think I know what's wrong. Okay, I'll fix that too. These are all separate entities, every Ice Blade here. I don't think I put the no freeze limit attribute while in Overdrive on these, and that's why this is happening. So, I'll fix that too. Motherfucker. This is still better than the amount of fuck up in the no-will video, at least. Okay. That'll hopefully be the last fucking potential bug we find in the showcase video, because these fucking videos, they're supposed to be, the characters are supposed to be release ready. I can't keep finding random fucking bugs in the damn videos as I'm trying to make them. It's embarrassing. It makes me look awful. But, moving on from that. 5 instead of 3. The pullback is a little weird. Might adjust that a bit too before this goes out. I am pre-recording this. This is definitely coming up before Christmas Day though. So obviously any bug shit you see in here is gonna be fixed at the actual download. Crush Trigger. This one has been coked out immensely. the damage of Crush Trigger has been increased, and on top of that... Shit, is it a little... It's pretty hard to do this for some reason, the timing... There we go! You can Crush Trigger into the C Sekijin D follow-up by just pressing D button after Crush Trigger is over and you have enough Permafrost gauge. Shit, it is pretty fucking finicky, admittedly. You can do it off of all four. But yeah, it's just a bit stubborn with the execution. Snowflakes will track the opponent faster. You can still only have one out, so don't get any ideas, but they will track the opponent faster. 623B has improved proration, which also happens to include, so it's better as a starter, it's better in combos. It also has 120 bonus proration when first used in a combo, just like 6A here. Which makes for a nasty combo of this. And also, yeah, 6A freezes, because every move freezes in Overdrive right now. Yeah, get to that. 623C and 623D can cancel into 623B on hit. Oh, that doesn't freeze either. What the fuck? Oh, I know. Okay, I know. So this doesn't freeze because this freezes on the second hit, folks. So don't go nuts about that. That's intentional. That's actually intentional. Oh god. Remember when I said I was done about buffing the ice cars? This is actually the last time. All ice cars on any of their multi-hits can be jump canceled. On hit or on block. I swear I'm done buffing the ice cars. That's the last one. That's the last one, I swear. In Overdrive, speaking of his aerial slashes, these go into normal fall recovery instantly after they stop becoming active. So you can do a falling J2C and shit off of whipping this to try and tag out an opponent. Same applies to the D version. So, much less recovery on whiff for both of these. Or you can do fucking Falling JD. There we go. That's a good option. You can do Falling JD off of those. 4-6D, or his old EX Ice Blade, now acts as a giant 2-3-6C, in that it will fire two big-ass swords, one slightly delayed. Whoops, actually did that command. The aerial version, in the same kind of sense, will release a second wave of 3 swords so long as Jin is still airborne. Shit. Come on, Seth. There we go. It's a little hard to land. You want to talk about stage control, there you go. Tentarafu will leave the opponent frozen on hit, allowing you to just run up and convert off of your disgusting unblockable that you just landed. Okay. We're on the final 4 or 5 changes, folks. Just the Overdrive distortions, and we're finally done. Because I am going to sadly confirm already that Super Boss Jin, or Power of Order Jin, does not have instant kill. I'm sorry, I could not think of a good instant kill to give him. That was original and different enough from all the other ones I've conceived thus far. I hope you'll forgive me for that, because he is more or less jank enough already without being able to just piss away 100-meter in Overdrive and kill you off of a straight hit. With that unfortunate detail out of the way that I hope disappoints no one, we can go on to his Overdrive distortion buffs to close out our showcase video here. Ice Waves! We'll have Jin shoot out 2 more for a total of 4 Ice Waves. And he's still done, and on top of that, the final hit, as you can see, will pop up into the air. going with this? Shit. Right. So, even if the opponent blocks the ice waves in addition, Jin will still do the Overdrive finisher to keep pressuring the opponent on top of that. And even after all of that, the final hit that pops the opponent into the air now has 80% minimum damage, and the ice waves themselves will scale much better. After the pop-up hit as well, you can cancel in other distortions for free. Well, not for free, but obviously takes your meter up. But yeah, you can this is your combo extender distortion that you go into one of his much damaging enders with. Ice arrows. The arrows are now allowed to multi-hit beyond the usual limit that they can do. And they will always do so. Actually, be better to demonstrate point blank with that, I imagine. Oh god, that lagged like hell. And on top of that, after the Winter's Riposte slash follow-up, Jin will do a quick Snowflower Storm Flurry into the sheathing final hit, and holy shit, that does 8k raw. So, yeah, that also happens to apply to the aerial version. Oh, man. Stylish, but good lord, that is brutal, too. Overdrive Bufudyne, to increase the lingering horizontal range, will now actually spawn a second Glacier slightly ahead of Jin that is also air unblockable. If you space it properly, obviously both of them can hit, and you can combo off of them because the recovery has been reduced. Or rather, the freeze duration has been increased on the Overdrive Bufudyne, allowing you to do more creative things off of it. Overdrive Snowflake Hail will send out about twice as many snowflakes that do more damage, and the snowflakes themselves are slightly larger, so they occupy more space. As you can see, this is disgusting. Last but certainly not least, and probably my favorite, except for the ice arrows just change, maybe, Winter's Riposte. Winter's Riposte now mimics the final, or the Hakumen's Overdrive version, where Hakumen's Overdrive version will do a slash and then like a fury of wind will come in and cut the opponent before the final hit strikes. I basically tacked that onto Jin's version here, where he does his multiple slashes that look really badass and cool, and then wind slashes into the sheathing final hit that will crumple the opponent. Does, obviously, a shit ton of damage, and looks extremely badass. And with all of that over, that concludes the showcase for Power of Order Jin. He's been in the works for quite a while. I'm glad I can finally show him off and give him to all of you lovely and loyal viewers to enjoy. I know Maverick Hunter Zero has been looking forward to this, along with some other people that aren't in the comment section nearly as much, but I still acknowledge and love you all the same. Obviously, I'll patch up the little mishaps in the showcase here before he is released. You can download this mod in the link below. This is my Christmas present to all of you for being lovely people and supporting me and my creations, giving them the time of day, and really just keeping me motivated to make more. I say that a lot, but I do mean it. There are plenty of other super bosses in the making. Probably still not going to make one for every character in the roster, but there's a lot more coming. And I think the one that I have planned to show you all after Jin here, I think a lot of you are going to love, even if you're not a fan of the character themselves. Yeah, not to pad out, since we didn't pad out the intro, we're probably not going to pad out the outro. So, we'll get this over with our traditional Astral Kill. I hope to have your continued viewership and support. And as per usual, I will see you in the next upload.